On February 2nd, 2020, in Miami, Shakira walked onto the Super Bowl halftime stage and, in just a few minutes, reminded the whole world what it looks like when an artist owns the moment. This was Super Bowl Live, one of the biggest live TV stages on earth, and she was sharing it with Jennifer Lopez, carrying the pressure of representing Latin music and Latin identity in front of millions of viewers. And the craziest part is that, long before stadiums and fireworks, Shakira was a kid from Barranquilla, Colombia, writing songs and trying to convince adults that she was serious. If you've ever had a dream that felt too big for your town or too big for your age, her story is going to feel very real to you. And while you're listening, if you enjoy this kind of English learning story, you can subscribe, like, and leave a comment about what you think of Shakira, or tell me if you've ever had a moment where you had to prove yourself to people who didn't see your potential yet. Shakira Isabel Mebarak Ripoll was born on February 2nd, 1977, in Barranquilla, a city on Colombia's Caribbean coast. Even her full name tells you something important about her identity. Her father, William Mebarak Chadid, has Lebanese roots, and her mother, Nidia Ripoll Torrado, is Colombian. So from the beginning, Shakira grew up with a mix of cultures around her, and you can feel that later in her music and movement, the way she blends sounds, languages, and rhythms without acting like she needs permission. When she was very young, she fell in love with performance, and one detail fans always remember is that she was drawn to belly dance, a style linked to Middle Eastern tradition. It became part of her signature, not as a costume, but as something personal. And that's a small English phrase you can keep with you today, something personal. When something is personal, it means it's connected to your real life and your real feelings, not just something you copied for attention. Her path wasn't smooth at the start, though. Around childhood and early adolescence, she was already writing songs, already trying to get taken seriously, and she faced rejection early. That kind of rejection can either shut you down or light a fire inside you. Shakira's story shows the second option. In the early 1990s, she began recording music professionally in Colombia. Her first album, Magia, came out in 1991, when she was still a teenager, and then Peligro followed in 1993. Those early projects did not make her a global star, and she has spoken over the years about how she didn't feel satisfied with how things went at the beginning. But here's what I love as an English teacher and as a human being watching another human grow. An early no is not a final no. Sometimes an early album or an early job is just practice in public. It's messy, it's imperfect, but it teaches you how to handle pressure. Then, in the mid-1990s, things started to change in a real, measurable way. In 1995, Shakira released Pais Descalzos, and that album became her breakthrough in Latin America. It wasn't just one lucky song. It was a whole era where people began to recognize her voice, her writing, her personality, and her point of view. She wasn't trying to sound like anyone else. She had rock energy, pop hooks, and lyrics that felt thoughtful and direct. And if you're learning English, I want you to notice how we say breakthrough. A breakthrough is that moment when something finally opens up after a lot of effort. It's like a door that was stuck, and suddenly it moves. By 1998, she pushed even further with Donde Están los Ladrones, an album that became one of the most important Spanish-language pop albums of that time. This is also where you can hear her confidence growing, not just in her vocals but in her choices. Around this era, she was not only a singer, she was clearly a writer and a builder. And soon, she stepped into a performance that fans still talk about as a turning point. In 1999, she recorded Shakira MTV Unplugged, a famous format where artists strip the sound down and perform live in a more intimate way. That kind of stage is scary because you can't hide. If your voice is shaky, everyone hears it. If your band isn't tight, everyone knows. But if you can carry it, you prove you're the real deal. The expression, the real deal, means the genuine article, the person who can actually do what people say they can do. And then came one of the biggest pivots of her life, the moment she reached for the global stage in a new language. In 2001, Shakira released Laundry Service, her major English language crossover album. This is one of those signature moments fans recognize immediately because it changed her scale. Suddenly, her music was not only on Spanish language radio, it was everywhere. Songs like Whenever, Wherever became worldwide hits and turned her into a household name in many countries. And I want you to feel how brave that is. Changing languages as an artist is not just translating words, it's changing how you connect emotionally, how you shape sounds, how you take risks in public. If you're listening to improve your English, remember this feeling. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be consistent and willing to learn. As the 2000s continued, Shakira's career became a long series of reinventions, and not in a fake way. More like, she kept letting herself grow. She didn't stay frozen in one successful version of herself. And then, in 2006, she hit another giant milestone with a song that basically became unavoidable around the world. Hips Don't Lie, featuring Wyclef Jean, became a massive global success and is often cited as one of the defining pop songs of that year. It's one of those records where you can hear the energy in the first seconds and you understand why it took off. And here's an everyday expression connected to that kind of moment. We say a song is everywhere. When something is everywhere, it means you hear it in stores, on the radio, at parties, in cars, all the time. It becomes part of daily life. Now, behind the scenes, a career like that is not only glamorous, it's schedules, travel, rehearsals, interviews, and expectations. It's also people constantly judging you, your body, your voice, your choices, your relationships. And Shakira has lived inside that pressure for decades. One thing that helped her stand out is that she was not only a performer, she was deeply involved in the creative side. She's widely recognized as a songwriter, and she's also known for her ability to blend influences, from Latin pop to rock to dance to Middle Eastern-inspired movement. That mix is not random. It's identity turned into art. In 2003, she also took on a major role beyond music when she was named a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. And her social impact is not a small side note. She founded the Barefoot Foundation, focused on education for children in Colombia. When someone has fame and uses it to build schools and support education, that says something about how they see their responsibility. And if you're learning English, notice this phrase, give back. To give back means to help others, especially when you've received success or support yourself. It's like saying, I didn't get here alone, and I want to be part of someone else's journey too. By 2009, she released She Wolf, showing another shift in style, leaning into dance pop in a strong way. And then, in 2010, she reached a truly historic global moment tied to sports and culture. She released Waka Waka, also known as This Time for Africa, as the official song of the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa. The World Cup is one of the biggest events on the planet, and being connected to that means your voice becomes linked to people's memories, their celebrations, their national pride, their summer nights watching matches with friends and family. The song became a global anthem of that tournament, and it's one of those moments where you realize Shakira is not just an artist people like, she's an artist people attach to major life events. Around this time, her personal life also became a big part of public conversation. She met Spanish footballer Gerard Piqué, and their relationship became widely known in the early 2010s. Later, they had 2 children, Milan, born in 2013, and Sasha, born in 2015. I'm sharing those details not to be invasive, but because it's part of the timeline of her life and how she balanced her identity in public. Being a global star and being a parent changes the shape of your days. It changes your priorities. And yet the public often expects the same output, the same perfection, as if you don't have a human life. Even with that complexity, Shakira continued releasing music and staying relevant across generations, which is honestly rare. In 2017, she released the album El Dorado and it won the Grammy Award for Best Latin Pop Album. That's a clean, verifiable milestone. A Grammy is not just a trophy, it's also a signal of how an industry sees your work in that year. And I like to point out what it takes to have a 1990s breakthrough, a 2001 crossover, a 2006 mega hit, a 2010 World Cup anthem, and then a major award in 2018 for a 2017 album. That is longevity. Longevity means lasting a long time, staying strong over years, not just flashing bright for one season. Then we come back to that Super Bowl moment in Miami in 2020. If you watch the performance, you can feel how much preparation is behind every second. A halftime show is short, and that's why it's hard. You have to deliver fast. You have to hit the big moments. You have to keep the energy high without losing control. This is a nice phrase to learn. Steal the show. When someone steals the show, it means they stand out so much that people can't stop talking about them. After Super Bowl Live, a lot of viewers remembered Shakira's presence, her dance, her confidence, and the way she represented her roots on a stage that often tries to make everything feel the same. But even after decades of success, life didn't get quieter. In the early 2020s, Shakira faced intense public attention and legal issues related to taxes in Spain. This part of her story is serious and human, because it shows how fame doesn't protect you from stress. In 2023, she reached a settlement with Spanish prosecutors to resolve the tax fraud case rather than go to trial. That's a documented moment that carried a lot of media coverage and a lot of emotion, because legal problems are draining even for ordinary people. And for a global celebrity, it becomes public pressure on top of private anxiety. And if you've ever been through a stressful situation where you felt like everyone was watching you, you know how heavy that is. In English, we say under a microscope. When you're under a microscope, it means people are examining your every move, looking closely and judging. Around the same time, her music became a place where she processed life in real time, and that's another signature moment fans recognize. In 2023, her collaboration with Argentine producer Bizarrap Music Sessions Volume 53 became a huge cultural moment, widely discussed and streamed, and it showed her using modern internet-era platforms and sounds while still sounding like herself. That's not easy to do in your 40s as a pop artist, because the industry loves to label women as finished after a certain age. Shakira didn't accept that. She kept moving. And here's a phrase connected to that kind of resilience: bounce back. To bounce back means to recover after something difficult and return with energy, not pretending it didn't hurt, but still choosing to rise. When you zoom out and look at her career as a whole, one of the most amazing facts people repeat is her worldwide record sales. Shakira is widely credited with selling over 95 million records globally. Numbers like that don't come from just one hit. They come from a lifetime of building trust with listeners, album after album, tour after tour, country after country. And she did it in multiple languages, with a sound that traveled across borders. She also has major awards across her career, including multiple Grammy Awards and many Latin Grammy Awards, and those are important because they show she didn't only win in one market. She became a bridge between markets. I also want you to notice how her story teaches a quiet English lesson about identity. Shakira never had to choose only one box. She didn't have to be only Colombian or only global, only Spanish language or only English language, only serious or only fun, only a dancer or only a writer. She let herself be complex. And when you're learning English, complexity is a good sign. It means you're growing past simple sentences and simple versions of yourself. You start expressing real opinions, real emotions, real details. It takes time, but it feels so good when you realize you can do it. Another thing I admire is how her body of work is connected to physical discipline. People see the performance and think it's natural talent, but a Super Bowl halftime show in 2020 doesn't happen without rehearsal, stamina, and control. Dancing while singing is athletic. Touring is endurance, long flights, hotel rooms, time zone changes, then you still have to show up and perform like it's the best night of your life. And that's a life skill too. Showing up when it's hard. In English, we say show up. To show up means to arrive and be present, but emotionally too, not just physically. You do the work even when you're tired. Her story also carries a message about writing your own narrative. From the early albums in 1991 and 1993 that didn't fully represent her, to the breakthrough in 1995, to the global leap in 2001, she kept shaping her path. She didn't wait for the perfect invitation. She kept building. And you can hear that in the way her career keeps having chapters. Some artists burn out after one chapter. Shakira kept turning the page. And if you're listening to improve your English, let me gently point out what makes this kind of story so helpful. You're hearing years, places, names, and clear sequences. That trains your brain to follow English naturally, because real English is not only vocabulary, it's flow. It's how ideas connect. So let your mind relax and just follow the timeline. Barranquilla in 1977. First album in 1991. Breakthrough in 1995. A major Spanish language peak in 1998. MTV Unplugged in 1999. Global crossover in 2001. A huge global hit in 2006. World Cup anthem in 2010 in South Africa. Grammy win for El Dorado released in 2017. Super Bowl halftime show in Miami in 2020. Public challenges in the early 2020s. And new era cultural dominance again in 2023. That's a life in motion, and you can feel the rhythm of it. When I think about why Shakira connects with so many people, I think it's because she never pretended she was made of stone. Her music has always had emotion, and her public life has had highs and lows that people recognize. Success, love, family, criticism, pressure, reinvention. And through it all, she keeps returning to work, to movement, to music, to the next performance. That's a powerful model for anyone learning a language too. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing. Willing to practice, willing to sound imperfect, willing to try again tomorrow. So as you finish this episode, I want you to carry one simple feeling with you. Shakira's story is not only about fame, it's about momentum. One step becomes another step, one album becomes another album, one risk becomes a bigger risk. And in your English journey, it's the same. You learn one useful phrase, then you use it again later, and suddenly you realize you're speaking more naturally. And if you want to practice right now, try saying a sentence with one of the expressions we used today. Something like, I want to bounce back, or I want to show up, or I'm looking for my breakthrough. Keep it gentle. Keep it real. And if you want, leave a comment telling me your favorite Shakira era, or the moment you first heard her music, or a time you had to prove yourself, because I really love reading those stories.